Wednesday. That's the second time I've done that today. Well, I don't remember what day it was. We have boot camp today. So for today's circuit, we're going to do 25, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest slash transition time. We're going to go 3 times through our circuit. Today, we don't need any equipment. We need enough space to be on the ground on your hands and toes. But I'm going to go ahead real quick with some demos, and then we will get right into our warm up and into our circuit. So to start off here, we're going to be doing bent over IYTs. So first movement here, we're going to have our feet roughly hip width apart, pushing our hips back, hands down in front of us. We're going to bring our hands up like an I, and then out like a Y, and out like a T. So from this angle, we have I, and then Y, and T. So that's going to be our first movement. Second movement over here, we're going to do some overhead squats. So again, feet hip width apart. We're going to try and have our toes pointed forward if we can. Arms above our head, just like this, keeping our shoulder blades pulled down. We're going to squat down, keeping our arms up, trying to go as low as we can, pushing the ground away and standing back up. Then after that, we're going to be on the ground. I'm going to have to do a little bit of maneuvering here with the camera angle, so bear with me here. We're going to go ahead and do some plank to pike with a toe tap here. So hands and toes, we're going to push ourselves up, hips up, and then tapping our other toe back down, and then exhaling, tapping our other toe and back down. So that's going to be our plank to pike. And then we're going to stand back up for some overhead reverse lunges. So same thing, arms above our head. And then stepping back one leg at a time, making sure our front knee is tracking past our second toe. Chest is staying over the arch of our front foot. And alternating our legs there. And then we're going to move into a little bit more cardio movement type movements here. So first thing we're going to do is a triple switch into a single leg Romanian deadlift. So for that, we're going to be here with our knee up. Want to use our core, stay nice and tall through our torso. We have 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to push, sink into our hips, push our hips back, push the ground away, and then 1, 2, 3 on the other side. Same thing. So for balance purposes, and stability, feel free to drop your toe to the ground. So if we're doing our single leg RDL, just go back a little bit. Our toe is on the ground, pushing our hips back, push the ground away, just using one leg, and then straight back into that triple switch. And then finally, we're going to do a 2-inch run in place. So slight bend in our knees and in our hips. So same kind of positioning here on our toes. We're alternating our feet. So it's like we're running without even moving. Arms are going nice and slow. So that is going to be our whole circuit for today. Put something else under here, maybe, hopefully, to help with our angle. There we go. That's actually better. Perfect. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do our quick warm up here. So we're going to go ahead and come to the top of our space for the world's greatest stretch. So starting off, we're going to interlace our fingers. We're going to grab onto one of our knees, pulling towards our chest. And we're going to exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands are going to come down on the inside of our front foot. So back leg stays nice and straight. Our pinky is lined up right next to our big toe of the same foot. And then we're going to exhale, opening up towards the ceiling. We're looking past our hand. Our thumb is facing behind us. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer, and then we're pushing our hips up into that nice hamstring stretch. Getting our chest as close to our knee as we can, opening up the back of our leg. And exhaling, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Perfect. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So interlacing our fingers, grabbing onto our other knee, pulling towards our chest. And exhaling, step back into our reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stay nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhale, opening up towards the ceiling. Thumb is facing our spine, so we're looking at our palm. And exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Perfect. All right, last part of our warm-up. We're going to do a little bit of some pike to pike, opening up our arms and our chest, kind of getting, or sorry, our core and our arms, trying to get everything warmed up. So going ahead, bringing ourselves to the ground on our hands and toes. And we're going to go ahead and push our hips up into our down dog position, where we can pedal our heels a little bit, start to open up our calves. And let's go ahead and go back to plank. We're going to do 3 quick ones here coming up as we exhale. Back down, exhaling, coming up, and down, and last one coming up. And then we're going to go ahead when we're ready, walk our hands towards our feet, pushing the ground away, standing on up, and we are ready to rock and roll. So, like I said, we're going to do 3 rounds, 45-15 today. I'm going to go ahead and get the timer started. And 3, 2, 1, and go. So, bent over IYT starting off. So coming up into our I, exhaling into our Y. We want to make sure our thumbs are up for both of those. And then into our T. So we're going to be straight out to the side like this for our T. We're going to feel that in our front and side of our shoulder for the first 2. We're going to feel that in our back, upper back, and the backs of our shoulder to help with our posture and our shoulder health and strength. Exhaling, squeezing our shoulders here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have overhead squats. So we're going to have our feet hip width apart here, toes facing forward, arms straight above head. 3, 2, 1. I figure we should do a couple overhead movements today to get our arms isometrically working today, get a little bit of shoulder work in there. Since I wasn't going to have us going on the ground too much, since my camera angle is not the best here, as it would be if I were teaching from the group exercise room. But making sure we're coming down as low as we can. Want to make sure our weight is distributed between our heel, big toe, and little toe. Coming up, inhaling up, exhaling down. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we're going to do our plank to pike toe taps. So on our hands and toes on the ground, we're going to exhale, push our hips up, tap our opposite toe. 3, 2, 1. Trying to find the best angle here for us. Actually, I'm going to go ahead. So hands and toes, bringing our butt to our belly button so our back is nice and flat. We're going to exhale, push up, tap our opposite toe, and back down. So with that toe tap, we're going to get some extra single arm shoulder stability and strength. I like to make sure we incorporate some things where we do single arm and single leg to help us even things out, since we all have one side that's a little bit more dominant than the other. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right. Standing back up. We're doing overhead reverse lunges. So arms above head, alternating our reverse lunge. 3, 2, 1. So arms straight overhead here, making sure again our shoulder blades are pinched here. So everything is nice and flat through our back. Stepping back into our reverse lunge. Gotta make sure too that our core is nice and tight. It's really easy when our arms are overhead to arch our back. If you're feeling that you're arching your back and it's hard to keep it flat with your arms above your head, feel free to just do a regular reverse lunge without the overhead. I'd rather do that than to cause any back issues from the overhead. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Next up, we have a triple switch into a single leg Romanian deadlift. 3, 2, 1. So we're here. We're going 1, 2, 3. Sinking into our hip, pushing our hips back, push the ground away. If we need to drop your toe for a kickstand, you can always plant your toe here underneath your hip, push your hips back, and then as you push the ground away, just using one leg, that could help with our stability, making sure we can really feel it in our glutes and hamstrings, making sure we're really using our muscles here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I feel like I don't have enough room to extend all the way out. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Last part of round 1, 2-inch run in place. 3, 2, 1. So we have our slight bend in our knees, hips are slightly back onto our toes, and we're alternating our feet nice and quickly, slow through our arms. So going as fast as we can. My legs are lagging a little bit today, but we're going to be nice and slow through our arms. We are like ducks on water. So from here up, looks like we're not doing anything, but from waist down, our feet are moving just like ducks do. They look super calm on the water, but if we were looking under, their legs are moving like crazy. 3, 2, 1. All right, that is round 1. We're gonna go through that 2 more times and then do a quick cool down. So we have our bent over IYTs first. 3, 2, 1. So making sure we don't want any arch in our back, so butt to belly button, keeping our core zipped up, pushing our hips back. If we are feeling like we are feeling this in our low back more than our shoulders, you can do one of 2 things. First thing, really push your hips back just a little bit more, act like you're sitting down on something that can help us use our legs a little bit more versus being a little bit more upright and coming forward. We want to make sure we're pushing the door closed with our butt. Our other option is going to be to lay on the ground and do it from the ground instead. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Next up, we have overhead squats. So arms are going to go above our head. 3, 2, 1. So feet hip width apart, arms above head, and down and up. So same thing with the overhead. Your arms are overhead and your back is arched like that. Once your arms overhead, go ahead, just do a regular squat without the overhead. What a lot of that means is that we need to work a little bit more on our overhead mobility. So there's a couple movements you can do for that. So if you're having that issue, just let me know and I can give you a few exercises to help increase our ability to move our arms overhead. 3, 2, 1. Because that's definitely a movement that we probably do a lot when we're reaching for something like high up on a shelf. So we want to make sure we can do that well so we don't injure ourselves outside of the gym. All right, plank to pike with toe tap. 3, 2, one. So onto our hands and toes, making sure it helps if we screw our hands into the ground to help our upper back be engaged. Making sure that when we're in our plank, our shoulders, our hips, and our toes are on one straight line. We want to avoid letting our hips sink down like that. It's going to put pressure on our low back, which is not what we want. Great job. Keep pushing. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Up next, we have overhead reverse lunges, standing on up. Half of the workout is getting up and down from the ground. Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. So again, starting in the top of our space, arms above head, one leg at a time. And then we're pushing through our heel of our front foot. We want to really feel that in our glute of the foot that's in front versus pushing off of our back foot. Making sure our knee is right over our second toe, chest is over the arch of our front foot. Having our chest forward, so it's going to help us use our front leg more. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Up next, we have triple switches with our single leg RDL. 3, 2, 1. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Pushing our hips back. From there, pushing our hips back. Push around away. Want to make sure when we are doing our single leg RDL that we our hips, our headlights on our hips are blinding the ground. So even when we do a kickstand, our hips are forward. We want to avoid opening up at our hips because it's gonna take away the part of the movement where we're feeling it in our glutes. We also engage our core a little bit more by keeping our hips forward. That's our anti-rotation. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last movement, around 2-inch run in place. And then we have one more round. And then we are going to cool down on the ground. 3, 2, 1. So hips are slightly pushed back. Knees are slightly bent in our base position. On our toes. Nice and quick. As quick as we can on our feet. We don't have to lift our feet super high off the ground. That is why it's called a 2-inch run in place, because our feet are going roughly 2 inches off the ground is the height we want to aim for. My feet are not quite getting that far off the ground, and that's okay. We want to just really focus on staying nice and tall through our torso, keeping our core engaged as well. Don't want any arches in our back. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last round. Coming on up. Bent over IYTs. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last round here. Again, sinking into our legs, pushing the door closed with our butt, making sure we're not arching our back either. So butt to belly button. Does help if we exhale as we lift our arms up. Want to lift with our shoulders, not with momentum. Want to really feel it. It's really easy to just kind of lift your arms up and swing them. Like I didn't feel anything there. But I mean, nice, slow, controlled. Focus on your mind to muscle connection. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are done with those today. Up next, overhead squats. 3, 2, 1. Again, feet hip width apart, toes forward, butt to belly button, core is engaged. Breathe through our straw to get that core firing up. Inhale, coming down. Exhale, driving through your whole foot. That one too much in my knee. Okay, that's fine. We're good. We're good. Focusing on, again, our mind to muscle connection and our intent, right? What is the intent behind this movement? We're working our shoulders because we're keeping our shoulders above our head, but also when we push our feet through the ground, right heel, big toe, little toe, we want to feel that in our glutes and in our quads. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. We have plank to pike toe taps coming up next. And then we'll be about halfway done with our last round. 3, 2, 1. Not about halfway. We will be halfway after this. So pushing our hips up. Tapping to the opposite side. Hopefully you'll have a little bit more space than I do here. So if you do have more space, you can go a little bit quicker through the movement. Great job. Keep pushing. Exhale as we come up. So we use our core. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, last here. Okay. We have overhead reverse lunges. 3, 2, 1. We're pushing through again. Our whole foot. What's our intent? Same thing as our overhead squats, but this time with our intent is to really push through our front foot and feel it in one leg, right? So for this, I know y'all heard me say this almost every time, but I'm gonna say it again. If you need to take it a little bit slower on one leg, I know for me, this side, my right leg, is a little bit slow to engage in terms of my glutes, where my hip flexor, my quads will take over. So I like to move a little slower on that side. 3, 2, 1. That's exactly why we do single leg things here and single arm things if we can. All right, we have triple switches here. 3, 2, 1. So with our switch here, we want to make sure our core is engaged, butt to belly button. We want to be nice, as close to a 90-degree angle as we can. Opposite arm, opposite leg coming up. And then sinking into our hip. We want to make sure with any sort of deadlift here, Romanian deadlift more specifically, we don't want to go all the way to the ground. We don't need to feel the stretch in our hamstring in order to engage our hamstring. We want to make sure it's really the angle between our knee and our hips and how we push our foot through the ground that determines how much we work our hamstring. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Last movement, y'all. We got 2-inch runs in place. 3, 2, 1. So again, getting our base position nice and quick through our toes and through our legs. We are ducks on water. And once we're done with this, we're going to do our quick cool down. We're going to do some bretzel on the ground. I'll cut my own head off on the camera. We're going to do some bretzel and then we're going to be done. So finishing strong here. We got about 15 more seconds. And then we're going to make our way onto the ground on our sides. Keep pushing, keep pushing. I know our legs are tired. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. We're going to go ahead and make our way onto the ground on our sides. or some pretzel. We have our main checklist here where we're going to bring our top leg, we're going to come up over across our body, knee and ankle stay on the ground. Bottom hand is going to go on top of our knee. Our top hand is going to grab onto our bottom foot or ankle. We're going to do a nice big deep inhale to prepare. And we're going to exhale, bringing our top shoulder towards the ground. And we want to look past our shoulder, so we're getting the rotation through our neck as well. So we're going to do a few deep breaths here. We really want to exhale, sighing away all the tension we feel in our bodies. Just really focus on making our exhales longer than our inhales so we can bring our heart rate back down to our resting heart rate and get our digestion ready for us to go eat lunch after this. And on your next exhale, let's go ahead and gently release out of that. So release your bottom leg, return to your side. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So switching to the other side. And we have our same checklist. So our top leg is going to come up, over, and across our body, our knee and ankle. We're going to stay on the ground. And our bottom hand goes on top of our knee. Our top hand grabs onto our bottom foot or ankle. Nice big inhale. And exhaling. Bringing our top shoulder towards the ground. This is where we might start to notice that one side is tighter than the other in certain places. So for example, today for me on my bottom leg on this side feels a little bit more of a stretch through my quad and also through my back versus the other side. My rotation's a little bit better. So it's going to feel a little bit better on the other side. Same thing, nice big inhales. And exhaling, sighing away our tension. And one more breath. And as we finish our exhale, we can gently release out of that. And feel free to stay laying on the ground, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that is going to be all the time for us today. So thank y'all for joining. Hopefully you feel a little bit better, like you got a lot of good work done there today. So thank y'all so much. I hope you have a great day. And then hopefully I'll see y'all again tomorrow for exercise.